For page 33, please title it Special Products. So when multiplying polynomials, there are some shortcuts that we can take. They're not necessary, but you can take them if you recognize them. So for example, 5x plus 4 times 5x minus 4. If I FOIL that just like I normally do, I'll get 25x squared minus 20x plus 20x minus 16. So you'll notice that the two middle terms are actually just going to simply cancel away. Your outer and inner are gone, and you're left with your f 5x times 5x squared, and your L 4 times negative 4 also squared, and then the plus and the minus become the negative. So there is a shortcut for that if you happen to see two binomials, a plus b and a minus b. If they're just simply separated by a plus and a minus and otherwise they're the exact same thing, when you do your FOIL, the two middle terms, the outer and the inner, will go away, and you'll just be simply left with f, which in this case is a squared. The plus and the minus will be negative, and then b times b will be your L squared. This was a special binomial called a difference of squares. So, in the reverse of that, if you happen to see an a squared minus b squared, and if you wanted to factor it and go backwards, it would have given you a plus b and a minus b. So this equal sign works both ways. Next, another special binomial squared or special product. If we have 2x plus 7 squared, we know we're first going to expand that. And then we are going to FOIL just like normal. So nothing special here. So when I FOIL that, I end up with this. And then now this time, you'll notice that your outer and your inner are the exact same two terms, and there are the same signs and the same exact term. So now it's just becoming double. 14x plus 14x comes from your outer and your inner, and you get double of that, 28x. You'll notice the first was squared, and the last was also squared. So for this one, the shortcut then, if you happen to see a binomial square, you're going to take the first term, which in this case was 2x, and you're going to square it. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. You'll take the last term, and you'll square it. In this case, that was 7, so 7 times 7 is 49. And then that middle term from the a, b, the outer, and that outer term also will be AB, the inner. Both of them will be the exact same thing, and you'll have the double of that. You'll notice that you don't have to use this shortcut. You can FOIL just like normal, and you'll still get the exact same answer. But when you do this, this is what's called a perfect square trinomial. If you remember from our Unit 2, whenever you had a trinomial factor into a binomial squared, a plus b all squared, or even a minus b all squared, we call that a perfect square trinomial. So the same formula is true for minus a minus b. The only difference is your outer and inner will now be both negative, and so as a result, you're going to be doubling the negative version of a times b. That's a second special product. Our third special product has something to do with cubing a binomial. So in this case, we have 3x plus 1 all cubed. I can expand that as 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1 times 3x plus 1. Now I'm going to FOIL this just like normal. Okay, I'm going to do two of these at a time. So if I FOIL these two, 3x times 3x, 1 times 3x, 3x times 1, and 1, I end up with 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. Now I still have to distribute that 3x plus 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3x, I'm going to take the 9x squared, and I'm going to distribute it to the 3x and the 1 first. When I do that, I get this. I'm going to take the 6x and distribute it to the 3x and the 1. When I do that, I get this. And then I'm going to take the 1 and distribute it to the 3x and 1, and then when I do that, I get this. I'll collect all of my like terms, and I end up with this as my polynomial from 3x plus 1 all cubed. Now, this one's a little bit harder, so if you don't memorize this one, it's really not that big of a deal. The a minus b squared was easy, and the a plus b squared was easy, but the a plus b cubed and the a minus b cubed are not as easy, so you don't have to memorize these formulas at all. But if I go to try to use this formula, I'm going to take a and I'm going to cube it. That was my 3x times 3x times 3x. That's where this 27x cubed came from. On this next part, I'm going to take my a, which was 3x, and I'm going to square it. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. Then I'm going to multiply that by 3 to get 27x squared. And then in this case, my value of b was 1, so when I multiply that by 1, my final term is 27x squared times 1, which gives me this middle term here that I ended up with. I'll do the same thing for my third term. I'll take a, which is 3x, I'll multiply it by 3, that gives me 9x. I'll take my b, which is 1, I'll square it, that's still 1 squared, and 1 squared times 9x is 9x. And then I'll take my b and I'll cube it. 1 cubed is 1. So you could use this shortcut and not have to go through this whole FOIL process, but that's only if you memorize it. If you don't memorize it, it's really not worth it. You may as well just go ahead and FOIL. It's a little bit more work, but you won't make, you're less likely to make any mistakes in the memorization of the formula. A minus b cubed follows the same pattern. It just changes some signs, so you'd have to memorize which signs go where. And then one thing I do want to note that a plus b cubed or a plus b squared or a plus b to the fourth, you don't just simply take the first term and cube it and the second term and cube it and put a plus or a minus symbol. You actually have to FOIL these things out to get the actual polynomial result. And that's it for this page.